Hello and welcome to week 4. This is the week where you're going to revise and complete your issue proposal. This is your first major assignment. It's your first major paper, and this constitutes a pretty good percentage of your grade. So it's worth taking the time this week to go back over it and to respond to my feedback as well as your peer reviewers. A couple of things I want to highlight for you from the issue proposal assignment sheet. First, some of you in your rough drafts don't appear to have read that assignment. So if you have not read the issue proposal assignment, I would suggest that you make sure that you read it first really thoroughly. The rubric that I will be using will be grading you specifically on the invention criteria. So if you look at on page P51, there are several questions. There's invention number 1, but number 2, number 3, number 4. These invention questions all need to be answered in your paper in no more than 5 pages. So most of the rough drafts that I've read so far are only 3 pages long, and you are missing a substantial amount of information based on these invention questions. So I am trying to respond to everyone's draft as much as possible and give you some of that feedback so that you're aware of what the criteria are. But be sure that you are reading those invention questions and trying to answer them really thoroughly. The next thing I want to remind you or highlight for you is the thesis. So the main idea of this issue proposal is that you are trying to convince me and your classmates that this is a viable research project. So you're saying, I have this issue, the right to die, and I need to convince my classmates that I have enough to work with that I can research this issue until the end of the semester. So you're going to write all of your papers on this issue, and you're going to be doing some extensive research, academic and other kinds of research, in order to write your research position paper at the end of the term. So your goal, your aim, and your thesis is to convince us that this is a valuable or worthwhile project. So you need to have a thesis statement in there, and it says it on page, let's see, it says it in your assignment sheet, but no, I can't find it. Oh, that's under arrangement. So indicate at the beginning of the paper that you're writing in response to a conversation, which some of you have done very well. Then state a thesis that previews what you'll be discussing in your paper and why it is appropriate for a semester of sustained research. Go back and highlight that. It's on page P52 in your textbook. And that is your thesis. That is the goal of the paper. It is not to persuade us that someone should eliminate standardized tests. We have a couple of those papers as well. So you don't want to make a persuasive essay about the issue. You want to persuade your class that this is a worthwhile issue to study. So that distinction is really important. And then the other distinction is that you have a particular audience for this paper, right? You're trying to persuade your classmates and I that this is viable. So it might be a little bit more informal. That's okay. It's okay to use, the rhetorical I, and it's okay to use meta-commentary. In this paper, I will show that this is a viable project for a semester of sustained research because X, Y, and Z. So a lot of you are getting that kind of feedback. I am attaching documents to each of your peer-reviewed discussion grades. So if you can't view those, please let me know. I say chapter, the preface and introduction is your reading for this week, and also chapter 4 on claim invention. Those are foundations for the rhetorical knowledge you need to know for this semester. So Be sure you glance over those and read through those just so you know that information, because we'll come back to it as the semester goes along. And as always, if you have questions, please send me an email. It's the only way that I can communicate with you or know if you have questions or issues. All right, thanks. Have a great week.